Hey there, it's Angeline here. How are you guys doing today? Today we are going to be, oh, we got stuff going on. We are going to be reorganizing our garden. We haven't gone in a while. We need to check on our roots. So we're going to go ahead in here, check on all of our plants, see how they're doing. Sorry about the noise. I'm adding y'all into the tripod here. So we're going to check into our roots and see how they're doing. This is taking up a lot of space here, so we might have to do some harvesting. Just going to go through our plants and make sure they're healthy, doing well, and all do some trimming because we do have a lot of growth. People are growing past the lights and plants are growing out of the lighting space, so we're probably going to have to do some harvesting too. But the main thing is to check those roots, make sure no one is robbing anyone else of their stuff, and to go from there. Also, we have a plant that's bolted. Our lettuce here is definitely bolted, so it has to go. And we'll take it outside for some light. So let's get started today, cultivators. Today is a good day for gardening. All right, so we're gonna start. Well, we know this one has to go outside, so let's just take it out. Let's just clear some space. So we're gonna take this one out. It's going out. This is a very good plant. What is this? Green Salvania, I think that's the way to pronounce it, lettuce. So we're gonna take out our green Salvania lettuce. We're gonna send it outside to seed because this is a good plant. So this is definitely going to seed. Let's take our roots, take our cup out. Our roots are doing pretty good. It didn't grow too far out of the container, which is a good thing. I'm gonna try to pull you guys back a little so I can get some of the natural light so you can see the plant in the natural light. See how long the neck is? These big gaps in between the growth, that's how you know it's bolting. And it also has a stronger lettuce smell. So I'm gonna put this to the side. Should rinse this out. Let me just take out some of the roots. Usually I rinse it out. Let me give it a quick rinse in the sink. Okay. And then I'm going to bring some things so I can rinse them as we go along. A quick dip in some water. All right, here, come. Let's get some juice. We have a juice request. All right, so we got a quick rinse out. Let's rinse it out with some water. Nothing crazy. No, let's stuff some water. Let's get a lid because we don't want it to start watering the plants while we are doing this. If it does start watering the plants, then the water will come out. So let's just put it in with its lid and go from here. So on this side we got that one out. You have our red mustard, which is doing pretty good. Let's check so we have our cucumber plant. Cucumbers, the roots don't usually grow out. As you can see, the cucumber is growing up the trellis here. So we want to be very gentle when we're checking the roots on it and taking it out. So we're gonna take a look, free and clear, nothing going on. Yeah, the cucumber roots are usually very well behaved. So I just stick them back in if they're out, and that's it. They don't usually need to be cut or have anything going on there. Our watercress is doing okay. It is on the top, so there's not anything that would be, going in and taking out its nutrients for the most part. We can check. The roots aren't growing out. The roots aren't growing actually, which is kind of not a good sign, but it's doing okay. So it's okay for now. That's usually a sign it's getting too much water. Maybe we'll lower it down The reason why it would get too much water because it's the first step for the water to go into. So it could be getting a little too much water, our watercress, but it's not like terrible for the plant. So this is why sometimes we reorg it to a lower space where a plant like this one will be absorbing a little more water as it trickles down. Then we have, this looks like, oh, this is basil. Then we have, what else we have going on? We have our yellow Swiss chard that we put here the other day. Our red mustard is doing okay. We have our yellow Swiss chard that we put here. I'm sure the red mustard, the roots aren't long enough to harass it. Uh-oh, we have a juice spiller. Hold on. Celine, stop giving her a full cup of juice. Half this cup, quickly, because she's spilling it. All right, so we have our yellow Swiss chard that we put in this the other day. It's doing pretty good. I'm not going to cover it yet because those little seeds that you see, some of them may be part of a, may not have sprouted yet. And if I cover it with the cover for the algae, then they might still be growing. We have a collard green plant here. It's not getting the amount of light it wants to. However, we have a root coming out. I'm just gonna, it's a very small root coming out, so we're just gonna put it back in. Make sure it stays growing in here. That's it. I have an extra watering cycle for some of our larger plants. Again, let's also take out another plant. Our kale's been here for very long. I don't eat kale as much. And so I would like to get this one out of here because it's three of them. I took one out. One is growing outside in the yard. It's doing very well. I think it's time for this one to come out as well. Guys. This, however, is a cool weather kale plant. So, see if we can get it out. It is tangled up with several different plants here growing, and I don't want to hurt them. We have pepper, we have the basil. I can smell the basil. But this is also, you know, why every once in a while you check the roots, you give some people a chance to come out. So this is the size of our kale plant. Let's give a zoom out size. It's here, has some dry leaves. It's been here growing for quite a while, but it's very, very large. Yeah, so I'm gonna plant this one outside and in a cooler spot because this plant cannot take too much heat. This is one of our winter plants. So we're gonna take it out of this holdings. We're gonna put, there we go. Roots are very good, very healthy. Before I put it in, I'm gonna do a little cutting to loosen them up. This is also gonna go outside. This kale, that kale has been there for quite some time. So again, we're gonna do another quick rinse. As you can see, this kale not being there will give some space and some air to some of these plants, which we're having trouble, getting in there. Got some roots growing in there. I might have to go get my little fork to get out some of the roots that are hanging. So we have our cube. Let me go rinse it and then get a cover and also get a little fork to pull out some of those extra roots. Alright, so I have my little plastic fork. What I do with it is the places where there are lots of extra roots in there, kind of reach in and pull them out with it. I'm going to show you how I do that in a second once we clear out this column. Or get the column spacious enough because we want to make sure that our plants can breathe and they're getting a lot of air and not growing twining so tight like they were and tangling up with each other. They have to have room to grow. Also, like these dry spots, this is from the kale that fell off into the other plant. Let's put this down. Let's put our stuff back in. So this kale plant, while I was drying, there was a set of roots in there that I can see now that we checked the roots of the plant. Then we have, all right, we're still going down this column. We're making our way down this column here. So we have our basil, but also growing up on our basil, we have parsley. This feels like a pepper plant. We got to separate these. There we go. So we have our basil. It's growing pretty large. Here we can see it in the light. It's growing pretty large. We do have lots of kale that fell in. And we have our roots coming out a little bit. They are okay. Not doing the best. Not in the best of health. Gonna snap these off. And we're gonna trim down this basil so that, again, we're trimming the roots, but we're also trimming some of the plants that need harvesting, because as you can see, the yellow Swiss chard that was there was barely getting any light. I just took out the kale from there. The collard green it's running to try to find a way. So see what happens when they're growing too tight amongst each other. This is a pepper plant. The leaf just like broke off while we're trying to get it out because there's so much. They're taking up so much space. So you want to keep the plants nice and trimmed, nice and pruned. We have plants down here holding on to each other with space and place to breathe, air to breathe. So we're going to give this one a quick cutting to harvest some of this basil. I'm going to cut it pretty low, cutting off a whole branch here. Usually where the two, see here where this is, the place to prune is kind of like here, and you have a nodule here, and then there's two separate ones growing. You cut it here, and those two separate ones will continue to grow. So that's how you do the trimming of quite a few plants, but this is how we trim our basil. So I'm gonna do it a lot lower though, because this basil plant has grown pretty large. Let me put this down so we can have another hand worth of space. So I have some of my other things going on. It's my tablet. Let's move this out of the way. There we go. So we're gonna prune this basil plant. So it's a little easier to prune them outside of the garden. You can kind of see more clearly what's going on. It's not being tangled with other plants. The light's not showing in your eyes. So I'm putting them very low, doing a harvesting. So as you can see, two plants, the plant branches off into two separate branches. That's where you want to prune from there. And then it continues to grow out the two separate sides. As you can see, that happened here. We're about to cut off one of them here. As I said earlier, I'm going to be pruning very low on this plant so that they have a space to continue to grow from. You can also replant these. So a lot of these, the same plant, there are several plants that are growing outside, and in our green stalk that has come from this one basil plant. This basil plant has been growing since the beginning. Since the beginning. That's the juice. So this basil plant has been growing for about, I'll say 8 to 9 months now in the garden, and there are tons of plants outside that I've propagated from this basil plant and put outside. So we have a little smaller basil plant now that we have harvested off the basil leaves. So again, you cut them from the stem. If you just pull the leaves off, this one is loose, so it's going to dry out. If you just pull the leaves off, then you're just going to have blank stems. But if you cut them at that intersection where the Y splits into two pieces, you're then able to let the basil plant keep growing, and it gets fuller and fuller and fuller, and more developed. So that's where I usually do my trimming, my pruning from. Also, when you cut from there, you can also have the plant, you can propagate the plant and put it outside, put it in a cup, put it in on your windowsill, have it grow in some water. So this is how we prune our basil plant. So we're gonna put this basil plant back into our garden. So we make sure our garden has our plants get airflow easily getting in there, especially some of our younger plants that have just gotten here, like our Swiss chard. You know, the neck is a little thin here. We don't want it to really be fighting too hard for, you know, let's see, it looked like I got some stuff on you guys. There we go. Crystal clear. All right, so we're going down this column. So far, no one has been invading anyone else's space underground. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, very good. This is a common offender, our mustard greens. They're usually an offender of root invasion. They're doing pretty good. Only one has come out of the container. So we're gonna put this in here. This column seems to be doing pretty well. There's not too many mature plants on the stretch. That's why I said this one may be getting a lot of water, because there is no mature plant to absorb a lot of the water as it comes down. So it's getting all the water directly. We might put it in a column with some mature plants, but we'll see as we go along. So we have our green mustard, which is doing pretty good. And then at the bottom here, we have our parsley. So let's get some of this stuff up. Let's see how the parsley is. So there is someone's roots here. I don't know if it was the green mustard, but someone did invade our parsley plant. So let's get the roots out. So let me show you up close how I get these roots out. Let's go in for a close-up. So as you can see, there are some roots hanging in there from some plants. This one is not too crowded, so I just use a fork, kind of spin the fork like this, and it pulls the root down. This root, it probably broke off from whichever plant while I was checking the roots. But this is the type of things you're looking for when going through the root system in the garden, because this is what then starts to, you see your plants start to dry out. You get little dry pieces here and there. And it's because the other plants are literally sucking the energy and the life out of them. So this is how we get, we clean in here and make sure there are no roots growing in there.
Spit it out.
So we're getting here cleaned up. Could you leave her, please? All right, we'll get it out. All right, so let's go to our next column. Stop it. Let's put you guys back in our tripod here. Let's go to our next column. We're gonna put our parsley in there, but let's make sure our parsley is doing well. Open. Thank you. It's a rock. There's no need for the screaming. All right, so let's check to make sure our parsley is doing well. Again, this parsley has also been here since for the last 8 or 9 months. Let's take out any dry spots. When we harvest it, we do harvest like a whole handful, so that's why we have these little sticks. These are from previous harvesting. Okay, let me get you the juice. Here. These are from previous harvestings. So also that's why you'll see a lot of this happening, because although we've had lots of harvests from this plant. So we're taking off any of our dry parsley. Hopefully now that, and detangling as well. Hopefully now that the other plant, whoever roots those belong to, most like the mustard. So it looked like it stayed in. At one point it started its way down and then disconnected. So we're gonna loosen them out so they can grow and not grow and tangle. I do a little detangling with my fingers. This is also like blowing in the wind, stops this from happening. When it was in the office, there was a fan in the office. There's still a fan in the office, but the fan would blow, and when the plants blow, it also helps detangle. Also, things that fall off from plants on the top. So as we do this, sometimes drier leaves come off the tomato plant, the thyme. Those type of leaves that come and fall, they get stuck and kind of like dry rot in here. So for instances like that, you kind of want to clear it out. Let me cut off some of these. These are from previous harvests. So just to get it clear, we're gonna cut off some of the plants that were here from previous harvests. As you can see, the plant is still growing, and we have lots of wonderful parsley growing. So we're just going to let it get a little air and detangled. It was fighting another plant for root space. At some point, causing some of the leaves to dry out. So we're going to give those leaves a better chance to heal. And what I'm doing now is cutting off like previous harvests. Now all the time I harvest is like in my hand like this, where I get such a good view. So the previous harvest, and shake it out so it can get nice airflow in there. I'm not harvesting right now. It is at the bottom, so it's not really taking up too much outside space from other plants because it doesn't grow up. It kind of grows straight. So let's get these roots back in the container because we don't want them to continuously grow out and into other plant space. So we're gonna just get them out now.
Thank you.
So let's put our parsley back. So our parsley usually kind of grows in this direction, so we don't have to, it's not really. Now we're at the bottom here. Since we're at the bottom, let's go for our mint. Our mint definitely needs harvesting. We have mint. The mint is growing up the trellis. The mint is growing everywhere. Mom is here. She likes mint, so I'm gonna send some to her home. So let's cut our mint off. Harvest. This is a lot of mint. It's inside of the container, so that's good. So for the mint, we're just gonna do one large chop. It'll just keep growing. So let me hold it here. I'm just cutting it lower. The root. Usually you hold that part. Top of my finger is holding it. I'm gonna let it fall and just pick it up.
Mommy,
there we go. And send that out. So we have our mint growing here. We have our small mint plant that we'll have for it to regrow. Those shorter plants. Let's pick up all this mint so it doesn't get confused with anything else that fell. That's for grandma. All right, so we got our mint cleared from our garden, and now we're gonna go to some of our newer plants here, such as our banana pepper. Wow, so the banana peppers, its roots is definitely growing out of the container, has grown very large. This is one of our peppers that came out of the nursery. It's doing very well. It's been fighting the good fight. Look, the leaves are huge. Some of these bottom leaves can come off. For pepper plants, to help get the energy to the top, these first beginner leaves, they're not fruitful usually. So we get them off and then let the energy go to this section of the plant here. You can see it breaks into several sections. Now, the reason, again, as you can see, some of these leaves are falling off. The kale plant was there, and that's how it got damaged, kind of competing with the kale plant. So that's why we want to keep it nice and clear so that they don't have to compete with each other as much. But I'm going to be pruning off these bottom leaves. I'm just clipping it with my finger. I use the other thing sometimes. But for right now, we're just going to clip it with my finger and let the energy go to the fruiting part of the plant. Some people trim over here so it'll just grow wide, but we are in the garden. This leaf actually broke from the kale incident, getting the kale out. So yeah, the kale is a big competitor in there. And this plant is very, very young. It's a couple of weeks old. If you follow our videos, we just took this out of the nursery. So this is our banana pepper. These leaves are huge for a couple of weeks, but it's doing pretty good. So plants like these, I put them a little higher up because they have the ability to, grow wider. When it's lower down, it kind of has to fight through other plants to get to where it's going. For now, I'm going to leave it here, but as we go through our garden, we can reorg. Actually, I think since we're here about it, it should get enough light. No, it won't get enough light in the watercress section. But we couldn't put it won't get enough light in the watercress section. But it would go good where this yellow Swiss chard is. So it is tall, it's thin, and the cucumbers here, they're not going to grow anything here because we have them trimmed. So let's put it here with the yellow Swiss chard and give it a chance where there's less, I will say, large plant competition, where there are more younger plants, and there's a water flow. There's no competition with the water. And we're gonna put this yellow Swiss chard. It doesn't need as much light. Let's put this yellow Swiss chard here. I was gonna put the watercress there, but let's put the yellow Swiss chard here for now. And we could have a stronger plant over there. So we also want to keep in mind how much light each plant needs. As it's going, as you can see, again, there's some roots. This is why we check that are growing in. So even though our pepper plant was doing very, very good, there are some roots growing right here. I don't know what we're going to find out now whose roots are these that we're going in and ingesting its food, vitamins, and water. So we'll see as we take out other plants whose roots were there. And as you can see, I just covered it with the cover. So that's how you see sometimes plants the roots get stuck in there, because I would take out a plant and it would kind of take the roots from the bottom. All right, so now we are at our jalapeno pepper plant. We got quite a few peppers here. Sweet peppers, banana peppers, quite a few peppers. Yes. Let me get a sip of water. Because along with the plants, I also need to keep my electrolytes up. So let me take that sip of water. All right, so we have our jalapeno plants. Now, you guys probably heard jalapeno is not my favorite, but here it is. So our jalapeno plant, it has grown pretty large over the months. It's doing pretty good. You know, sometimes it has afflictions, light afflictions, but it's still growing. It doesn't seem like too many things need to be trimmed. Very shortly, it probably will need to be trimmed. We have some jalapenos that have been on too long. We'll cut them off. Our roots are doing pretty good. So let's stick our roots in. There are quite a few plants whose roots are in here. I'm not sure which plant, because as you can see, there's not a plant growing for quite a few nodules. They're all empty there. So I'm not sure who has been bothering our jalapenos, but we will see soon enough. All right, so as you can see, we got a lot of space in our gardens. That's why we've been doing a lot of nursery videos. You've seen a lot of nursery videos because we're filling it back up. Since the summer came, a lot of our plants went outside. But our jalapeno plant is still fruiting. Wow, there's a lot. As you can see, we got quite a few jalapenos here. growing on this side of the plant. And so we're gonna cut off some of this fruits. Let the jalapeno do some more growing. As you can see, there's some roots hanging out here. Whose roots? We don't know. I would be very concerned if it was the roots from, yeah, so let me get the fork in there because a lot of roots. Again, I just stick my fork in, spin it like I'm pulling spaghetti, and they just keep twining in there on the fork and pulling out. So this is how I get the roots out from wherever they are. All right, so this jalapeno plant has been doing good here. It's been thriving here. We'll just put it back. The trellis there, but hasn't really been growing. Sometimes I mean, nothing's really growing on it for now. The cucumber is working its way down the trellis from the top. So that's where we have our cucumber. I don't even see my hand. Where's my hand? Oh, you guys can see my hand. The cucumber is working its way up. All right, so next we have a few empty spaces. And then we have this pepper plant. I believe this is the Goliath pepper. Yes, it is. I'm gonna bring this one down a little. This one also was in the nursery with our nursery ones. It's doing very well. So this is our Goliath pepper. Our Goliath pepper is doing very well. Trying to get us farther back so we don't have the backlighting of the garden. So this is what the plant looks like in natural light. It's doing very well. We have a root growing out. Of course, we want to put that back in to make sure. And then we are going, I'm gonna bring this one a little lower to give it some space to grow. Just a tad bit lower. What's a short plant? So you know what, it can stay where it's at. The tomatoes, we will help the tomatoes get up. We have some peppers forming here, which is very good. These plants, you know, just about a couple of weeks ago, they were in the nursery and they have grown very big from the nursery so quickly. So what I'm going to be doing, especially since I see these forming, we're gonna give it some of its energy. Let's take off some of these bottom leaves, just the bottom ones. This one I can't. It's so cute. It's growing in two. So I'm not taking that one off. You know, sometimes you just can't. But it happens. So we're gonna put this one back in. It does have a space to grow. This tomato plant is actually a plant that's over here. So I'm just gonna put some support to hold it up. This is our banana pepper, which is growing pretty well. I'm gonna put the Goliath pepper back where it was. There is no plant above it for the next nodule. And there's the tomatoes, which are a little higher. So let's get this one open. These leaves are beautiful. They're green. They're doing very well. They were fighting with our other plants, but for now they're doing very good. See, make sure there's nothing happening with the leaves. Get a little close up here on them. They're doing pretty good. So a little check-in. So yeah, we have our beginning of our Goliath pepper, which is a larger size peppers that we have growing in our garden. So next plant we're going to is on this column is our tomatoes. It's a very small tomato plant. I'm checking here. How's our hibiscus? Ooh, this is looking good. Next, it's being held on, so I'm not going to remove it too much. I know the thyme is over it, and thyme doesn't really take up too much root space. So this is a very small plant here. It's doing pretty good. We have a few tomatoes growing on here. We're going to harvest these tomatoes. I haven't really been harvesting tomatoes off of the garden as much because the tomatoes outside have been producing a lot. So I don't harvest them as much, but I'm going to harvest these because the rest of the plant needs energy. So we're going to just take these super red ones off. As you can see, they just fall right off. I'm going to harvest them right now. I was saving the harvest to the end because I didn't bring out a container to harvest them into. But let me just take these tomatoes right off right now. So we got our tomatoes off. Let me go get a plate or something. I have a plate right here to collect our tomatoes, our harvested fruits. So we're just gonna put them on our plate and put them in here so they don't roll off the table. All right, so we have our tomatoes growing. Nice to have these a little more supported. I think I might go get a support for it because it will definitely give our peppers some place to grow. Oh, see, a piece of the tomato plant fell in here. That's kind of what we were trying to avoid because we don't want it to fall in here, dry out, rot. And then I don't want it to, there we go. We want our pepper plant to be healthy. So wind helps with things like this, and that's why it's good to have a fan on them because it'll kind of like blow that out over time. So we have our thyme. I think I might move the thyme to the bottom. That's exactly what we're going to do because we have our plants at the bottom that are hanging, such as our parsley and our mint. So I'm going to move our thyme to the bottom so that the thyme can have some, can kind of hang down if it likes to also, but it's not hanging down on the plant and it can grow, things can grow up. Our sweet pepper. All right, so let's get a holder support for our tomatoes. There we go. It's a little tie. We're just gonna support it onto the trellis that's behind it. So let me lift it a little. I usually like my cloth supports. Let me come around the other side. So we are going to be adding our tomato plant to the trellis. Yeah, as you can see, we got a lot of tomatoes growing here. So let's add this one here. I try to be very gentle. We don't want anything to break, snap, feel pressured. This is the base of our cucumber plant here. So let me start twisting it. So our cucumber plant is doing very well. I'll show you where our cucumber plant has ended up because it grew up the top of the trellis, turned, it's coming down the other side of the trellis. So our cucumber plant is doing very well. It's just not on this side of the garden fruiting. It's fruiting on the other side of the garden. But it's getting its nutrients and everything from here. This is the base of our cucumber plant. So let's lift this up a little more support to kind of lift up our tomato plant. Let's make it a little tighter on our trellis. So I'm just here tying it onto the trellis so it can have its support to grow up. And I can see here part of our cucumber, one of the arms is grabbing onto the tomatoes. We don't want that. All right, so we want a little more support. This one, this plant here is further in. So this one's also hanging. So let me put something to support this one too. Let me take out our thyme because our thyme plant is definitely hanging down. So let me take it out right now. It is getting a lot of water. So now I can hang down, grow that and downwards. Now we have some more space here for our plant to grow upwards. Let me get this branch of our tomato one. This is the one that's hanging the lowest, but it's not at the bottom. So let's support this one a little higher. And get it up here. Let's twist it on. There we go. So we have our tomato plant now growing upwards. We have one growing a little further down. Let's just lift our support up a little bit here so that it is supporting this one more upwards, and that gives our pepper the adequate space that it needs. So yeah, this is our cucumber plant that has trellised all the way up, around the top, across here, down here. There's its cucumber here, and then it's going back down, and it's climbing down this trellis back here. So our cucumber went on a journey. So we have our cucumber, our tomato that we just got cleared, and now we have our, what's on this side on the top. So yeah, so we gotta make sure our cucumbers, because it does interfere. We have some more cucumbers growing there with our other plants here, so we got to make sure it doesn't do too much, that stays on this trellis and doesn't harass the other plants too much. You can see they're kind of like getting squeezed a little. So then we have our hibiscus, which is doing very good. It's good to make some juice and some tea out of it. Our tomatoes, you can see, it's growing all the way out of the garden. That's why it's it's like it's foremost in the front. All right, so we have our, I'm just gonna pull you guys back so you get a better view. For our, up here we have our chives. We have more of our cucumber growing down here. It's not growing down anymore, it's growing out. So let's put it back on a trellis so it can continuously grow down. But let's get to the top here and finish this column off. So this column is finished. Let's go to our last column here. Now we do have some of our cucumbers that have not every one of them pollinated. So the ones that didn't pollinate, we are going to trim them and give the energy to the places that did pollinate. So as you can see here, we have little dry leaves where it didn't pollinate. We're trimming those off. And so ones like this one that are pollinating, and the bottom here that's still growing, we're gonna have that pollinate, get a little more energy. That's flowering, we're gonna have those get a little more energy. We're also gonna put this back on track. The trellis is back there. This one decided to grow out here. We gotta put it back on the trellis to grow. Our cucumber plant is doing pretty good. It's very healthy, it's growing. So let me pull you guys back a little so we can do some trimming on our cucumbers. So all of our dry leaves, our unpollinated plants, parts, we're gonna take them off. Anything that's like super dry, that didn't get the pollination, we're just gonna remove so that the energy goes to the ones that are pollinating and are growing really well. I'm just taking these off. Let's see. They didn't make it, so we are letting them go. They're holding on there up top, so this is pretty good. They're also blocking light to get from the other ones, so this one, yes, nothing pollinated here, nothing pollinated here. You can see the little dried up, unpollinated cucumber parts. And it's okay, because a lot of them did pollinate and are doing pretty well. So, you know, like our cucumber here, which we have to harvest, is grown past its prime. This one here needs to harvest. The light, I couldn't tell how far it was, but now I can tell that it is ready to eat. So we have to eat. Not only do we have to harvest this now, we have to eat this today. So this is gonna go into our salad for today with our food. I'm gonna let our cucumber plant grow. Now we have a lot of Swiss chard that has grown, so I'm gonna do some harvesting of our Swiss chard. They're large. Whoops, she has some juice here. Swiss chard is large and just ready for harvesting in general. Right now I'm not checking the roots on these plants. The cucumber plant, as I showed you, The roots were on the other side, so we checked the roots, it's doing fine. However, I can't really see in here to harvest the plants. So we're gonna pull our Swiss chard. We don't want these big giant leaves pulling out any of the cucumber. So just to make things a little easier, we're gonna pull them out here. This one snapped earlier. There we go. So it's wilting a little. But this is showing more of our cucumber plant, and we want to get it back on track also. So we are going to, there we go. We got quite a few cucumbers growing back there. So our cucumber plant, not as you can see, now that we have harvested some of our Swiss chard, you can see more of our cucumber plant growing back here. We're gonna get it to see if we can get it to grow down on the trellis and not across this way. You know, it's there. I guess I can make it come back, get back around in. We're excited about hibiscus plants, going pretty good. Let's see if there are any other dry ones. So like this is the dry, unfertilized or unpollinated cucumbers. So that you just give them a little trim. But then the larger ones, like this larger one back here, it was definitely fertilized, and we are just gonna let it grow out its time. So yes, like this one, there's a lot of unfertilized ones that's there. It's not getting enough light. So we prune those off and it keeps growing. But as you can see, the cucumber was in the first column. Okay, so let's check out our Swiss chard. This Swiss chard has been here for a while too. It's not hanging out too much. Pretty good. When I cut off the top ones, new roots grow. The old roots kind of just hang out there. Then we have our tomato plant, which is doing very well. Right here, as you can see, it's growing outside of the garden. This is why you're getting, it's lit very weird, because it has grown past where the light is. It's just growing up, I guess, regular sunlight that's in this room. This one, I don't think we took it down for a pruning. That's why we're getting so much fruit now. So we did the pruning the last time. All right, let's see if we can untangle them. We did the pruning the last time. We pruned off those that weren't doing well, and we let the ones that were doing well become fruitful. So this is our fruit. We got a lot of fruit on our tomatoes. Let's check the roots to see how they're doing. I have to take you guys off for a close-up because this tomato plant is in there. It's our spinach, another large leaf plant. This one, the spinach basically suffocated it out. This leaf has been here and our brine wasn't able to thrive back there. So we have to plant something else there. Let's just check our root. Again, it's on a, well, this root is large. It's on the trellis. All right, well, it didn't go too far out of there. So it's being supported by the trellis. Just now the trellis came off a little when I moved it. This is our trellis system here. There we go, shifted. There we go, so we have it back on. And this is our tomato plant. I'm gonna harvest. I see it splitting, so we have to harvest them immediately. So let me get them harvested off now. At least the ones that split. So that's these. 2, 3. They come off very easily. So we definitely have to have our salad today with our cucumbers and our tomatoes. Yes, I've been eating a lot of the ones outside, so I haven't been harvesting too much in here. As you saw, we had a lettuce plant that the spinach basically just went in front of and never let get the light of day or anything. So again, we do have some aggressive plants. So when you have aggressive plants, you always have to check in on the other ones to make sure they're doing okay. So when there's too many of these in one area, this is when I like to, this one is well rooted. This one I like to spread them out where, like the other area where everything is young and new. All right, well, the roots aren't too bad here. This is our spinach. You can see it's very large. A very large spinach plant. Let's go give this one a trim and see where we can put it where it's taking less. I think we might, well, the red mustard, it can't go in the light because it's a cool weather plant. I have to put it on this side. Maybe we'll put the cabbage because this side has no mature plants. So we'll, besides the cucumber, all the other plants are under a month, around a month old. And the mustard, the green mustard. So let's take this spinach, harvest a lot of the leaves. I see it's a very large spinach plant. So we're gonna harvest these leaves, get some sandwich wraps, some wrap. I eat them. I like to eat the spinach raw and make wraps with them. However, you know, people chop them up, cook them down, put them in pasta. There are many things to do with spinach. This spinach just keeps growing and growing and growing. I have several of the plants now that are growing. One we moved outside to our green stalk. It's thriving out there. Another one is in a pot. Originally, when I first planted it, it took the longest. I think it was taking like 2 to 3 months before it sprouted. So I kept trying. And so that's why there's so many of them growing. Because we don't eat this much spinach. But there's lots of them growing because they weren't sprouting. So now we have tons of them sprouting. Let me just cut off some of this. We have lots of them sprouting and lots of plants. But yeah, they weren't sprouting and I just kept trying and trying and trying. And now we have a lot of them that all sprouted together. So this is our plant. This is a older one. It's not older one, it's a smaller one. Let's cut this one off. And we're just gonna leave these on. I want to grow more straight. They usually grow towards the light. But I want this one to grow a little more straighter when I put it on the other side with some of our younger plants. So we're gonna move this spinach to this area where it's not, there's a little more space. It can't stay long with the cabbage because that's what's here. So this is not gonna be a long-term placement. Perhaps I could put the mustard green because the mustard green does need the cool. It's not direct sun, so if it goes on this side, I'm gonna put the mustard green on this side. So it won't get direct sunlight. Direct lighting. It's not too hot over there. Let's get the spinach on this side. And I'm gonna put it a little higher up because it is doing pretty well. It probably can take all the way on the top here because it is not, it's mature. It can take the sunlight. This area has like a double window, double story window. So it can take the sunlight that's just in this room. There's enough sunlight in this room for this spinach to thrive. So whoops, we got our watercress here. So I'm gonna put this one to get all that water as it first comes out. And that way the watercress is not just getting pummeled by tons of water, all the water for all the plants on this side. Let's just put it second here so it can hang down and not hang into this plant. This is a Swiss chard, so it's going to grow facing up, pointing up. So let's let this one grow. This one is going to grow hanging, so that's fine. Just don't hurt the Swiss chard. There we go. So that one recently came out of the nursery and was recently thinned. There we go. Let's put our spinach up here. Our spinach definitely can thrive off of just the light that we have in this room alone. So this room's pretty well lit. So just the light that's growing in this room can support that spinach. So we're gonna have the spinach there on top. And we've moved our mustard greens here, which is also a pretty large plant. But for now, it should do good. It would give us a chance for the lettuce that we did plant in our nursery to hopefully it's cool enough over here. Hopefully be able to thrive in that. It's that it usually the mustard green grows wide and out. So it'll probably grow towards this table. It grows like out. It doesn't just go straight up. So it wouldn't completely, this one algae can even grow. That's how aggressively this spinach snuffed it out. Not even algae can grew in this area. So let's just put this down. We're gonna use one of our nursery plants in there. Let's put this here. I hope I still have cover. Yes, I do. Wow, I can't believe not even the algae was growing in that corner. So yeah, this is also why you check in. If I checked earlier, I would have saw that, but no, I only use check-ins once in a while with the roots. So the brain didn't make it. Well, we do have plants in the nursery, so we'll see how they're going. All right, so we're close to the bottom again. I think I need a broom so I can get in there so we can check and see what's in the bottom. So let me get this broom really quickly because we've been doing a lot of trimming. And as we take them out, they hook on to other plants. They retangle, they detangle, they retangle, they think about tangle. So here we go. So we have see what we have here. Oh, we have a butter crunch that also was aggressively covered by another stronger plant. So yes, this is, we have to check in on these plants, making sure they're not taking advantage of the plants around them. This is that Tokyo plant. Oh, we have tarragon in here that was also barely made hanging on by a thread. So look at our tarragon. Again, that it was slowly being squeezed out. So we have this one. Yeah, these lettuces in the corner here, these strong plants were, very, very aggressive towards them. And basically taking up their space. So this lettuce, very large, very pretty, is basically blocking out the light for several plants. I'm gonna lower it. I mean, it's at the bottom. Let's take off some of its bottom leaves. It's doing very well. It does very well in this hot, humid weather. So it's I'm glad it's doing good both inside and outside. It tastes great, but boy, those plants back there were in for a struggle. I'm going to pull it up a little higher. It does take full sun. It is mature, so I feel like it can, it has the ability to absorb the sun in the room. Also, I'm going to lift it a little higher where the green was. So the mustard greens are not going to overtake this plant here, which was aggressively taking up the space of other plants. So yeah, over time you get to know which plants are aggressive, which plants they kind of stay in their place, which plants the leaves are so big that it's gonna take over. So the leaves are big, but it's mature. It'll turn. Right now, because of the way it's now facing a no light area, but it'll start to turn towards the natural light coming from the front of the house. And we're gonna give our tarragon, our cilantro, all these plants the opportunity to grow. Here we go. We got a call. Like, oops, we have a call. Oops, we have a call. So let's hang that call up. Sorry about that. Now let's get our plants in. So I forgot tarragon was here. Apparently was here. Our butter crunch fought the fight. It's hanging on by a thread, but it is in bolting stage. So it didn't really get to survive the coverage of the other plants. The tarragon is slowly, hopefully it makes a comeback. It looks like it definitely can make a comeback. It's curling. So it was on its way out. good thing we checked. And our cilantro it was having a root. Someone that same plant was also taking the water, the nutrients out of the cilantro, but it is fine. So we put our cilantro back. Our cilantro is doing good. I do want to get a plant in here quickly because not as big as the other one, but we should have a plant here. I'm thinking I might have to put one of the pepper plants here because cilantro does not do well in heat. The front door is near here. When you open it, the heat comes in. So that plant was providing shade and coolness from the heat for the cilantro. So I'm gonna put another plant there to kind of cool it. I think this jalapeno would do good over there. So let me put the jalapeno down there to provide some shade for our cilantro. Let's see if it's low enough to provide. No, it's not really gonna provide shade for the cilantro. I think we need one of these bigger leaf peppers. Yeah, maybe one of the bigger leaf peppers may be able to do it. Because we want that shade factor. I'm gonna do let's do the banana leaf. We want a bigger leaf pepper. Let's hold this one up. We're gonna put a bigger leaf pepper, but we're having this tomato plant is falling. It has a lot of fruit. I'm gonna get it onto the trellis because this is a lot of fruit on this tomato plant and it's very heavy. So let me tie this one up really quick, and then we're gonna put one of these peppers to hopefully provide some shade and coolness for our cilantro. So it's an ecosystem, and we have to make sure everyone is doing well in the ecosystem. And working together and growing together in good health in our ecosystem, and making sure our super aggressive plants aren't super aggressively taking resources from others. So let's put this tomato up. This part of our trellis is not going to have cucumber since the cucumber went around the outside, so we're going to have it come back around the front. So we're going to have this tomato plant attached. There we go. So now we have our tomato plant up, not hanging down too much. So that part's a bit hanging down, but at least this part is up now. It still is clearing, so we broke a piece of it, but it's still clearing our cucumbers. Our hibiscus is growing through in this direction, so that's fine. It's not interfering too much with our hibiscus. We have these peppers, so yeah, one of these plants are going to come. Let's see who has a shorter stem. The banana pepper has a longer stem, I think, but bigger leaves. I'm going to put the banana pepper to keep the cilantro cool, because it needs something that's going to keep it cool but not kill it. So let's go for the banana pepper for the keeping it cool. Let's see. And taking the banana pepper doesn't look like it's doing too much sun coverage either. All right, I think the banana pepper eventually will grow in this direction. It has these big leaves, so I wanted it to go. The mustard will kill it. There's no question, no maybe. The mustard plant, they have the aggressive roots, so it will definitely cover it too much. If we could get this pepper plant to kind of grow in this direction, I think that if it was like this way, it would be a little better. Our thyme is not growing in the, I don't know, maybe the parsley? Let's see. We'll figure it out. We just need a plant to keep our cilantro from getting too much light. It's in the coolest spot, so we don't want it to get too much heat. It's in the coolest spot on the garden, which is at the bottom corner, but we don't want it to get too much heat. These are growing upwards, so they are giving a lot of They're not giving shade in that direction. They're giving shade to plants higher up. If I put this cilantro in a hotter space just for it to get shade, it's like a puzzle. It may not get the amount of shade so that it needs. So we'll see. We'll do the part of the tomato plant that needs to come off. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on our cilantro because we definitely do not want it to overheat and bolt. And it was doing good by hiding behind this flower. It was doing very good. Well, maybe we can move it to the top and still keep it behind this lettuce, this giant leaf lettuce. Because right now it's getting direct light and the heat of the room. Up here, there are quite a few plants that will be shading it. So, let's move our cilantro here, and that way we don't have to worry. It should get a lot less light, a lot less shade. A lot more shade. Here we go. This is a space for it. It'll still have the shade of its giant Tokyo plant here. It'll still have the shade of our chives growing down in front of it. So it's providing some form of shade. The cucumber plant is basically directly on the light. So this should give it some form of shade and keep it a little cooler. So let's move our cilantro up here. Cilantro did start at the top at some point. So let's let this keep it a little cooler and shaded from all the stuff. The chives roots are not growing long. They're not growing out of the area, so we don't have to worry about the chives roots bothering the cilantro. I did have cilantro growing up top before. So let's just keep it here and we'll keep it monitored, see how it does. Hopefully this provides enough shade to keep it cool. All right, so we got everyone moving around well. With that being said, let's put this one here. Give it its own room to grow. It doesn't have to be that close to it's growing up, so we'll get its direct light. Again, right now it's facing the other direction. I'll give it a few days and it will stand up and go in the direction. We'll go right to the light, which is right there, and stand up straight. I think we did good with reorganizing our plants. Our jalapeno is still growing out here. Eventually this jalapeno is coming out. Again, it's not my favorite plant. I don't eat it that often. I'm going to have it come out and probably have it outside. Put it in a pot. The potted plants grow a little slower than the hydroponic plants. So the plants that we have in soil grow slower than hydroponic plants. So I'm happy with a plant that I'm not eating as often, not fruiting 80 million fruits. I think it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 jalapenos on it. I don't even eat jalapenos like that. So the ones that grow in soil do grow a little slower. The hydroponics grows the plants, I think 2 to 3 times faster. The fruit is fruiting faster. The whole situation is going a lot quicker. It has less resistance. So it makes the plants grow extremely quick. So I think I might put this in a pot and take it outside. We probably will do that today. Let's check on our nursery to see if we can put anybody in here, or if any of the plants are ready for the nursery. And then we're going to pot this jalapeno plant so that it can grow at its normal pace outside. As you can see, I've transferred tons of plants outside to do pretty well. I take the fruits off of them. I just put them in a pot, let them get the sunlight, and they do pretty good. Let me go get the nursery and let's take a look and see how it's going. We also have our other garden to do. I'm not sure if I want to do this today, but we'll see how we feel after so this is our nursery. It's our breen that didn't make it. Oh, the breen was just in there fighting. All right, so let's see. See, we got some butter crunch coming in right now. So once our butter crunch comes in, we can put that in Have our oregano, lavender. Our lavender is doing pretty good. The butter crunch is doing well. We have thyme growing. And then we have some pink celery. Very skinny. However, no one has roots showing yet. I don't think it's dry enough. Stevia, we just put in. I don't think they dried up enough. Haven't added any water. Thyme is doing good. Lavender. So no one is ready to go into our garden, but of course we're gonna put some more. Since we have so many holes there, this is going outside, so it's not going to be in the garden. It's going to be in our green stalk. Thyme. I forgot what my plan was for thyme. I think it's going in the kitchen, but I'll keep one in the green stalk. I mean, in our garden, not in the green stalk. Celery is already outside, so this is to replace the celery that was in. However, celery is a 1 per cube situation. As you can see, we have a lot more than 1 per cube. But outside, it's hanging in there outside. So we'll probably put 2 outside, and hopefully it does pretty good. We'll take it outside to our green stalk outside of the sunroom. Then we have, this is going to be inside. It's very hot out there. It's over 90 degrees. The butter crunch is not. It's too hot for inside. And the oregano, I want to put some out and some in. So everybody's doing pretty good. The root is coming out the top. I think it's getting too much water. Let me give a space between it and the plants next to it. So I guess you'll get more air in there. It is getting a little too much water. It's a little too humid. The roots are growing out of the top and not growing down out of the bottom, which is not too good. So the celery thrives. So we'll just let it grow a little longer. Hopefully they don't fall over. They are standing strong. It might be a little too humid. As you can see, it's giving a little fresh air. Sometimes I have the kids blow the plants. Like, just give them some dry air, some nice carbon dioxide. All right, so we have them here. Our nursery's doing good. Nobody's ready to go in yet. And we do have our other garden that has to have its roots checked as well. And this garden is full. We're gonna probably have to come do this another day. As you can see, everything is flourishing, luscious, growing. So we're gonna have to come back another day to do this garden. This room is a lot cooler. The lettuce is growing a lot larger, as you can see. Hopefully this one is not blocking anyone back here. It is blocking someone, but we will help them out. We got onions growing all over. So we'll come in, organize this one at a later time. That one is doing very well. The interesting enough, the water sensor isn't working. I had to order another water sensor on that one. So we have this one that is now thinned down, and let's go get a pot. Let's see, we have pots to plant our jalapeno in and go from there and have our jalapeno move outside. Let's see what we got going on here. Any pots in the cabinet? No. So I have plant pots. Certain. Now, if I don't have any plant pots just lying around, the jalapeno has to stay here until we find one. It also can go in our green stock. What am I talking about? Let's put it in our green stock. We have a green stock that wasn't getting enough, the water system wasn't working. So we have plenty of spaces there. So let's get this ready for the green stock. Let's get it trimmed. We'll put it in there right now. Because it's not jalapeno is not it's not cold weather plant. So it's okay if it's warm outside. Let's bring it in here and let's do some pruning to make it sustainable for that green stock. All right, so we have our jalapeno plant here. We also have all the other things that we pruned. So let's get run the fruit off, because you don't want it. This is going to be a hard time, and we don't want it also working on the fruit while transitioning to a different temperature, while transitioning to a different growing medium. That's a lot for it to go through. So we're going to get all of the jalapenos off. I'm also probably gonna have to give these away. So we're gonna get our jalapenos off the fruit off to make this transition easier. So the plant can be nice and relaxed. It's not having to keep the fruit going and transition and there's too many ends. So we're cutting off all of the fruit that's on there. Of course, there's still fruit that's like at its baby stage here, but these larger ones, you gotta let them go. One, two. Okay, so we got our fruit cut. Let's put them here. Any of these plants that have these weird leaves growing, these dry leaves. I'm gonna do this outside, the trimming of the leaves. Let's take this one out of its casing. So first, let's take these off. My algae protectors. They're soft, so it does a very good job. See the roots grew all the way up to here. Let's usually try to press this part. There we go. And then we're gonna give this a snip once we get outside. Let's take this to trim it. And let's get our, stop and get our scissors. So we got our scissors. I believe our little handheld shovel is out there. We'll see. Oh, door's locked. Ugh. This is not a one-hand open door. All right, I'm gonna have to put you guys down. Put all this stuff down. So we got green on green on green here. All right, now we got the door open. The cats decided whether they're coming or out. All right, let's see. Do we have our shovel? You know I use my hands. But let's just see. There we go, I see it. Let's take a stop again. Got a shovel. Let's head on out. The difference in humidity between outside and inside alone is an adjustment, but this plant does good in hot weather, so it should be fine. It's not about 20 degrees different. So we're gonna bring it out. This one out here in our citrus corner. I have to remember to turn off the sprinkler because our citrus plants aren't getting extra water just from the sprinkler alone. And I'm ending in like rains and all type of stuff. So let's close this. See, this one's doing a lot better now that it's outdoors. Let's find ourselves a spot. This looks like a great spot. Don't know what was in it before. I don't even know if, because we put them back in different levels than they were in when they moved. I'm not quite sure what plant this was. Well, it was something that came from inside, but nothing was getting watered like only the top level was getting watered. All the other plants were not being able to get watered because the water wasn't traveling down. Now we got it cleared up and fixed. And so we are going to we're bringing this one back to life. And a lot of the plants are also doing a lot better now that it's been out here. So let's get the hole right. So let's make sure. See how dry it was because the water wasn't getting to it. It's so dry. It was so dry. I was surprised. I was like, because also what happens when the water doesn't go down into this one, it was staying puddled in another one. So it was just staying there and it was like puddled up and it was gathering in the other one and didn't give any place. What I'm gonna do is cut the bottom. for it to grow. So this, because they're growing in all different directions, we're just going to give some root stimulant, the roots to be open and grow, stimulate them a little bit. And then we're going to put that all the way in. All the way. This case already broke, so you know what? Let me take it out of the case. I just snapped, so let me take it out. Once it snaps, then that's fine. Let's take the plastic off. I was about to throw it to the side, knowing that I'm gonna walk by one day, like today, with no shoes on. Be very upset. So let me just put this up here. I'm gonna take it up, pick it up on our way in. So now there's even more space for the roots to expand themselves. As you can see, it's very rainy today looking. It's gonna rain. Supposed to storm a little later. So, and I didn't even know this was going. I just thought the plants were having like some type of issue with the lights. So I didn't know what was happening, and then I realized after. This does need a lot more soil. I'm gonna go get some more soil from inside. Oh, I wanted it out here to do the trimming of the leaves so I could see them better. So yeah, everything dry. And I didn't want to drop these on, like we're outside. I might as well do the trimming now. Everything that has a little color here. We're gonna spray this with some neem oil. Oh, it's a whole healthy. I almost cut this off. You have it sprayed with neem oil because I know its defenses are low. Also, these spots can be evidence of something eating the peppers. So we're gonna get it sprayed and protected while it's out here. Let go of all these leaves. Aren't doing well. Usually it faints probably the first day or two. It comes back if it's not getting enough that it needs. Then it starts growing a whole nother branch. But this one is pretty healthy, and it's gonna rain like any second. So let me go get more soil right now and take this in and get some more soil to put into this plant. As you can see, once I put the plant in there, it's still pretty low in the amount of soil. We want the soil to line up with the edge here. So that's what I'm gonna do. Get some soil to line up at that edge there and go from there. Let me go get the soil. All right, so I'm just gonna scoop it in. We're gonna scoop it in, and then I'm gonna water it directly. I'm also gonna water the one next to it directly. I have some rice seedlings, not seedlings. I have some rice seeds in some of these pots here. This one, and so the seeds are not gonna be. They don't get watered as easily. I mean, it'll probably get water from the rain. Also, that being said, every day it says it's gonna rain, it gets cloudy, it looks like it's gonna rain, then it doesn't rain. So I watered the one inside, but I didn't water the seedlings. So there we go. So we've gotten the soil all the way to the top. Let's go get the hose and get some water going. Get it directly watered. So yes, this one, the plants are recovering now that we have fixed the watering issue. I have another video on that. So they are thriving out here, but I didn't know until I decided to bring them out here. This is our key lime. Key lime is doing pretty good. Lots of new leaves. So let's get our watering. So this is a pepper that I brought from inside. As you can see how it leaned to the side. But then over time, it started just growing on the top here. And now we have a whole pepper plant growing. So it grows differently. Oh, these plants are dry. Let's give them some water while we're here. Again, because it's gonna rain, I didn't want to like overwater them because I know that the rain is gonna come and it's not gonna be my 2 minutes of watering. It's gonna be raining. And then these are our cucumbers. What? This is our cucumbers. Look at this. Very, very surprised. I didn't even know that was going on under there. So we got cucumbers growing pretty strong in there. It's our pepper plant. Wow, it's a big one under there. And we have our mustards in the shade here. So I make sure I keep it in the shade, keep it nice and cool. That's another plant that transplanted that I've got to take the fruit off of, but it's still thriving, so it is what it is. And these are our zucchini. So let's water this one in. I'm gonna give it this type of watering. Hold on. I was watering potatoes, so I have the hose on a different setting while doing that. To directly water in the area, hold on. Let me put you guys back on the stand because I'm balancing. There we go. So we're gonna directly water the hose. It's like leaking out a little. There we go. Okay. So let's directly water our pepper that we just planted. Is it? Oh, it's in the middle of two settings. Oh, it's still doing the same thing. All right, let's see how. I guess we could do the full, and this not opening it all the way. And then we have our rice here that we want to stay. We don't want it to. Let's mist it. There we go. Even the mist is like high powered. That's the only thing I like about the mist. It's very high powered when you mist things. All right, so we're just gonna keep our rice moist right here. This one does need a lot of soil after what happened. We'll take some time and water our garden, see what's going on here. We got a lot of growth happening on this one. We got peppers, we got zucchini growing. Let's give this one a watering because again, we're watering the roots. When it rains, it doesn't water. I keep the lid on so it doesn't water the roots. So let's give it a quick watering while we're here. Because these are a lot of thriving fruitful plants. I did do a video feeding it. And I fed the one inside with some food the other day. So we did do a video giving them food. So hopefully they'll do, well, they're doing great. They're definitely thriving out here. Let's give them some water for today. I'm not giving too much water because they were watered yesterday. Doesn't need that much water. We got some plants growing down here. Yeah, these plants, thank goodness they made it. Let's just say that from what they were going through. Yeah, we got a lot of new growth going on here with our plants. They shouldn't need food, but the leaves are light colored. I'm deciding whether or not which one is this one? This is Meyer lemon. Oh, that's a lemon. This is the mandarin orange. If the mandarin orange needs some food, the leaves are very light yellow, but when they first grow in, they're light yellow. Such as this one. This is also very light yellow, like 2 days ago. And then, as you can see, it became extremely green. As it was, as it hardened, so to say, it became extremely green. So I'm watching these very carefully. There are brand new leaves on brand new, as you see, they didn't even harden yet. So they're very new growing in here. So I'm making sure it's that they're new, not that they're getting overwatered. So let's give some watering to this one here. My little leaf plant. I really like this lid with the little leaf where you just open up the hole on the top and it makes it easier to water. They just put the thing in the hole and the water is very easy. I do have the watering system, have not yet put it together. Because I had the watering issue, I am watching the plants very carefully and letting them grow. Water like this, watering them, hand watering them. some of the lettuce can grow in the shade, but it's been very, inside is not as hot and humid as it is outside. And if it's too hot inside, then only certain strands of lettuce have been thriving in this weather. Today's not too bad, but that's because it's about to rain. But we've had 90 degrees, 90 plus every day for the last couple of weeks. I'd say last month. I'm gonna watch this one carefully. I feel like I need to drench it with water. I don't think anything else is on that row. Just gonna get our water in for the plants inside because the roots are inside. A lot of this water is not gonna reach the roots. I mean, the water from the rain is not gonna reach the roots. The roots are prone to getting the water from the middle, not from the edge. All right, so we gotta see our plants. So we're gonna let these other plants get their, you hear the thunder, get their rain from outside. That's our sorrel growing really big. I might transplant those into bigger pots. Because that's what I came to do, is see if we had extra pots, because I was like, a lot of pots are being used. So some of our plants that can take a bigger pot have very large pots like these size. I might put those, both of them together, the three of them, into one, like, I think it's 25-gallon pot, and let them grow that way. And then bring them, I don't think I can bring them in. I think, I don't know how they do inside, but because I don't think it's warm enough inside. So when the season's finished, the season's just finished. And then you replant them. I'll see what I'll do about keeping them. But this plant has been, we started this plant in February. And we've been potting it up. So we're gonna get it in it. We're gonna put those in a giant pot, and then I'll have three pots to put some of our bigger, smaller plants in and have them expand, because we still have some in cups waiting for their bigger pot, their big pot debut. Well, thank you very much for joining. It's been Angeline and the team. It's just been me today. Remember, for additional information on gardening, please visit our website at avgardening.com. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Please support us on our Patreon at patreon.com at Angeline Verdant, Verdent. And we also have you posted on the status of our plants. If you follow us on Instagram, we have a lot of posts, and on Facebook we have a lot of posts on what's going on. Also, with our plants, like daily check-ins with what's going on with our plants there. Thank you very much for joining, and remember to stay green always. And I will see you guys next time. Let's see if we can say goodbye. And goodbye now.